McSally, should the Senate consider new evidence as part of the impeachment trial?
Man, you're a liberal hack. I'm not talking to you.
You're not going to comment, Senator,
You're a liberal
about this?
hack.
One of my favorite moments on Capitol Hill ever. Senator Martha McSally, Republican of Arizona, telling off the fake news. She's joining us live tonight. She is in the fight of her life right now to hold on to that Senate seat. The polls show that you got a bit of a challenge on your hands against this Mark Kelly guy. But we know all about polls, and the election is still some time off. Senator McSally, welcome to Newsmax. How are you tonight?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. You bet. Hey, listen, first off, China. I know you're very passionate about this issue. You may have heard today that Secretary of State doesn't seem to think that Hong Kong has its autonomy intact anymore. You'd like to take tough action against China.
Well, I've been involved in national security for my whole adult life, and the rise of China has been a deep concern for those of us who have been paying attention. The coronavirus, I think, has been a wake-up call for a lot of people. China's not our friend. They're our adversary. They've been trying to replace us. They've been doing it in plain sight. They're responsible for the coronavirus. Now their crackdown on Hong Kong should wake everybody up. Actually, Pompeo's certification had to do with a bill we passed last year, the Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act. I was a co-sponsor of it, where he has to certify whether they still have the autonomy that they were guaranteed in 1984. And it looks like China is just ignoring that and continuing on their push to crack down on their rights and their freedoms in Hong Kong. It's unfortunate, but it's not surprising. We've got to stand up to China. The window is closing, and it's time for us to unite with our allies around the world and stop them and hold them accountable for the coronavirus.
All right, Senator McSally, I know you've been in some tough spots before. It looks like you got the fight of your life on your hands right now in Arizona. First question, immigration. Is that not the winner of an issue for Arizona that it was for President Trump nationally? He doesn't seem to be doing very well with Hispanics. President Bush did a lot better with Hispanics back in 2004. Is that what's giving you a hard time right now?
Let me first say the fight of my life was in combat, 325 combat hours flying the A-10 Warthog. This is just a new combat zone in Washington, D.C., but it's nothing like what I've been through flying the Warthog. Back to border security and immigration. Arizona is a border state. That comes with opportunities and also comes with challenges. And we see the drug trafficking that's coming through our state. It's impacting so many people around the country. This has always been an important issue with Arizona. Border security, legal immigration, and cracking down on illegal immigration. I think the pandemic has also woken some people up. Borders actually matter.
Arizona seems to be changing, though, a little bit. I mean, look, I used to live there, by the way, Yuma, Arizona. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But look, this is the land of John McCain, Barry Goldwater. The president's numbers are down. Yours are down. What's happening there, and how do you turn it around?
Look, I just don't get freaked out about the numbers, okay? This election is a long way away. Right now, we are spending our time ensuring that we can get through this pandemic, get people back to work, hold China accountable. Look, the demographics are changing. Some people have left California because they failed policies there, but they don't change their voter registration at the border between California and Arizona. But we're still right of center in Arizona. And the extreme left agenda that we see from Biden and Sanders and my opponent all the way up and down the ticket is out of step with Arizona. People will have a very important choice. Who do they trust to get the economy going again? Those who already showed that we have a good economy? Who do you trust to take on China? My opponent actually has had Chinese communist companies invest in him, and he's invested in them. I'm standing up to China. They're threatening me personally and threatening to meddle in our election. Who do you trust? Do you want to stand with me, or do you want to stand with somebody who's beholden to China because of their financial interests? None of this has been talked about yet in the election, and in the next 5 months, this is going to be a part of the important choice everybody has at the top of the ticket all the way down.
Okay, we'll have your opponent on. By the way, I'm not related to him. I've met him once or twice. I'm a Kelly. He's a Kelly. Let's talk about Dare to Fly. The book is right behind you. Dare to Fly, Simple Lessons in Never Giving Up. And you alluded to your combat experience. Extremely impressive. The A-10 Warthog, one great big gun on it. We're looking at a picture of you in your flight gear. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Well, I've had some unique experiences, going from being a motion-sick, chubby, shy girl to being the first woman to fly in combat and command a fighter squadron in combat in U.S. history. taking on the Pentagon, suing the Secretary of Defense over making our servicewomen wear burqas in Saudi Arabia in an 8-year battle, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, running the Ironman. These are unique experiences. But what I share in there are common themes for all people. We all understand fear and how to overcome fear. We've all had adversity and challenges. I lost my dad when I was 12. It was a defining event in my life. It propelled me on the path I'm on. So in this book, I just share some stories, but I really just want to be a wingman to the reader, to give them encouragement in their own lives, how to find their own courage, how to overcome their own adversity. And I really look forward, and I hope I can inspire people who read it. They can go to daretofly.us and share their inspiring stories with me as well.
I love a book by an aviator. I don't know if you know this, but I flew in the Marine Corps when I was in Yuma. I flew Harrier jets. I had a blast. I really respect what you did. Good luck. Martha McSally, to be continued. Senator Martha McSally.
All right,
everybody.
thanks. I'm going to take them in the cockpit of an A-10, and they can take off with me and go to combat. So daretofly.us. Thanks, Greg.
You bet. You bet. Hey, the only issue is they don't have two. Do they have two-seater A-10s?
No, I mean virtually, like mentally, you're in the cockpit. No,
Okay.
Your first flight is solo. There's no two-seaters, and there were no simulators. So when I got cleared for takeoff, I sure felt that I was afraid, but I had to learn how to take off afraid, and that's what I talk about in the book. How do you overcome your fears and learn to do things afraid?
I love that. And I had a feeling that was true about the A-10. The first time you land on an aircraft carrier, you go by yourself. You're solo. I know the Air Force, you guys have those great big runways. You need them. Just kidding, Martha McSally. You're the best.
Right.
To be
Thanks
continued.
a lot. Take care.
You bet. Take care now. All right. The Air Force and the Marine Corps were always giving each other a good-natured hard time.